plunges deeper, and life shatters all my dreams. Then I lift my voice to Jesus, and he gives my spirit wings. God gives wings as eagles. God gives wings to fly and strength to rise above. I mount upon eagle's wings.
folks. We're glad to see you here this morning. And let's go to the Lord in a word of prayer. Father, as we come this morning, thank you for so many people that are here. We trust that the message today would resonate in our hearts. It's a hard message. My personal opinion is many of us do not do what Jesus said would bring His blessing upon our lives. Help us as we heed your word this morning. Help us as we bring our lives into submission and into the image of our Savior. Thank you for watching over us, protecting us, providing for us this past week. I pray our attention now would be to your precious word, that if there's any here that are unaware of their lost condition, if they're unaware of their need for you, if they're unaware of the urgency to call upon Christ, that today they would see that need and respond in repentance and faith. For every Christian, Lord, help us to glean this truth, this one simple truth here. And we'll give you the praise for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Take your Bibles, if you would, please, and turn to Matthew chapter 5. This morning I'm preaching part 3 of a series for the new year. And it's actually something that I thought would be preached for a couple messages. But as I dug into this, and as I was convicted myself, and as I saw the depth of these truths, I could not do it justice by covering it in just a couple messages. I've titled this series, which will probably take us 4 or 5 more weeks, Have a Blessed 2022. Jesus gives a promise, and there's a path to blessing that He lays out for His disciples then, 2,000 years ago. It's the same path, it's the same promise today. We saw that this was Jesus' longest recorded message in the Bible, 3 chapters long, called the Sermon on the Mount. We're just focusing in on a small portion of that, 8 Beatitudes. And these are pronouncements of blessing that we can have. Last week we read Matthew 5 verse 3, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." From this verb poor, we saw the idea of to cower or to shrink. I would be often used of a beggarly person who is cowering or falling away, shrinking, because of their particular need. And thus the word poor in spirit is to recognize our spiritual poverty that we have. It is to see oneself as lost and hopeless and helpless before the Lord, regardless of what we might have in this world, regardless of our education, of our culture, of our ethnicity, regardless of what we've accomplished in the world, regardless of what we can hold in our hands or hang on our walls or anything like that. It's comprehending that we are totally destitute spiritually and totally dependent upon God. I mentioned I thought this was the foundational beatitude, that you've got to get this one down. This is the idea of just coming to God with empty hands. God, I have nothing. I know that I'm poor. See, some we saw did not recognize that they were poor, spiritually poor. And so God could not save them. As he said, he came to save the sick, and he's like the great physician. Someone thinks they're healthy and they don't need him, he can't save them. So we must humble ourselves and come to the Lord. And so if we're going to be having a blessed 2022, not so much just a prosperous one. Now there's a spiritual prosperity, that's what we want. But too many might be looking just for a prosperous year. That's what the world looks for. We Christians ought to be looking to God bless me because I need a spiritually prosperous new year. And when we empty ourselves and come to God with open hands and say, God, I have nothing. I need everything that you have. I need your mercy and your grace. And so we get salvation. Therefore, with salvation, we get the Spirit of God, and God then can bless us. This morning's sermon I've titled, A Blessed 2022. It starts in the morning. Now, it's not the morning as you and I might think or how it sounds. It's the word that Jesus uses. It's M-O-U-R-N, a morning. And I take from Jesus what He's saying here. If you and I don't have mourning, then we will not be blessed as Jesus can bless and as Jesus wants to bless in 2022. I began doing study ahead of time as we work our way, through these Beatitudes, and I was looking at them and doing a little study ahead of time, and I'm thinking, these are really challenging things for the disciples, and that's why we read in other passages, as they heard and listened to more of Jesus, as we saw in John 6, from that time, many of His disciples, went back and walked no more with Him. I can't take this. This is too much. You're demanding too much. And I looked at the one this morning in verse 4, Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Who wants to mourn? Our world doesn't want to mourn. You and I really don't want to mourn when it really comes down to it. But Jesus said, if you spiritually mourn, I'll bless you. And I got thinking about that this morning, and I was thinking with these hard sayings of Jesus and the life that He's laying out, this path to blessing. I can understand now why when it came time, because Jesus, He had all these disciples, quote, disciples around Him. He had these crowds. The Bible talks about crowds and throngs and multitudes. Thousands and thousands of people around Him as He would make His way in His earthly ministry for around 3 years or so, just preaching and teaching like these Beatitudes. And now I can understand more when He went to start the first church, the first service. 120 people came out. He had preached and taught and healed and fed thousands and thousands and thousands. But when it came time to assemble for church, 120. We see that in Acts chapter 1. You see, the message of the Lord back then, whoa, this is pretty strong. This is pretty demanding. This is like a paradox. I thought it was going to be great and wonderful, and I was going to have all this happiness. And you're talking about being poor, and you're talking about mourning, and you're going to talk about the meek, and you're going to talk about those that hunger and thirst. That's not really for me. And I think it carries down to our day, and why you see church attendance lowest. As I read you that article a couple weeks ago, and I have read in other places, lowest in Canada, the lowest in the United States. It reminds me of the days of Jesus. This is too much. You're too demanding. I got too many things I want to do. And I thought maybe if I come to Christ, I'm going to have all this joy and happiness. And the Lord is starting out right from the get-go. Listen, you want me to bless you? You want to have a blessed year? Then heed what I say. Blessed are they that mourn this morning, for they shall be comforted. 2 points, very simple. First, a godly sorrow. If you're taking notes, a godly sorrow. This word mourn here in Matthew 5 verse 4 means to grieve or to wail. Luke 6:25, woe unto you that are full, for ye shall hunger. So this is kind of like Luke's parallel passage. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. Woe! Woe if you laugh. If you think this life is just a big joke and a big party, you missed the message. You're not really one of my disciples. Woe unto you, judgment unto you, if you think life is this way, especially if you think the Christian life is this way. You know, you have these false theologies going around today. You know, health and wealthy and wise and God, you get saved and God will make you that way. Well, that's a lie from the pit of hell. It's not what Jesus taught. Paul uses this word when speaking to the Corinthians regarding a sinning brother in the church. In 1 Corinthians 5 verse 2, and ye are puffed up and have not rather mourned. Same word. You're puffed up about this sinning brother. It's no big deal to you. It's just church is going to go on. And yet you've got openly someone sinning. Even the neighbors know all about it. It's commonly known. And you're laughing about it. Paul said you better be mourning. It's sin. It's sin in the church. Have not rather mourned that he that have done this deed might be taken away from among you. Later, Paul in his second letter writes to them in 2 Corinthians 12:21, unless when I come again, my God will humble me among you, and I shall bewail, same word, mourn, bewail, that I shall bewail many which have sinned already and have not repented of the uncleanness and fornication and lasciviousness which they have committed. Paul says, when I come, I'm going to have to get really hard because I'm writing to you, I'm with you, you're not changing. You that call yourself the church. And Paul says, I'm going to have to bewail. James, who we studied verse by verse, his great epistle, the half-brother of the Lord. James 4 verse 9, be afflicted and mourn. I wonder where James might have heard that. Even in his unsaved state, hearing about Jesus, maybe mocking that at one time. What do you mean mourn? Who's going to want to become a Christian? But James now writes, be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. And we have a prayer meeting here on Wednesday nights. Last week we had about 30 families, okay, between Zoom and here. I wonder if we should have a mourning, M-O-U-R-N, I-N-G, meeting. That we will come, as you'll see in this morning's message, people getting together. And you'll hear some quotes of people, getting together, and they're just mourning, they're weeping and grieving over their sin and the sin of their church or the nation or something. But we've turned everything into laughter and joy. Some have titled this beatitude, Happy Are the Unhappy. Another man titled it, Happy Are the Sad. See, it's kind of a paradox. It's kind of absurd, but true. What kind of sorrow brings God's blessing? The Bible is full of paradoxes. The simplicity of Christ really confused the wise of the day. And if we're not careful, it will confuse us. And we'll think there's something wrong because there's a lot of grieving and wailing and sorrow in my life, over my life. Paradox is like Jesus said, if you desire to be the greatest, you're going to have to be the servant. The first will be last. Whoever tries to save his life will lose his life. Now, there's different kinds of mourning or sorrows in the Bible. There's the normal sorrow, and that's not what he's speaking about here. There's normal sorrow, like grief. David said in Psalm 6 and verse 4, my soul is also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. I am weary with my groaning all the night. Make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. So in this particular case, David is just weeping and grieving over just the enemies attacking him and all that he's having to go through. That's not what Jesus is talking about. We have the normal grief of a loss of a loved one or the separation from a loved one. Paul writes about that. He talks to Timothy. I thank God whom I served for my forefathers with pure conscience, that without ceasing I have remembrance of thee, this is Timothy, in my prayers night and day, greatly desiring to see thee, being mindful of thy tears. Now, they're tears, but it's just because of a separation, just a normal kind of grieving. Paul told it again to those he would visit, and I'm not going to see anymore in Acts 20. And they all wept sore and fell on Paul's neck and kissed him, sorrowing most of all for the words which he spake, that they should see his face no more. That's definitely sorrow and grief and tears and anguish. That's just a normal sorrow. Then there's the worldly sorrow. A second kind. Still not what the Lord is speaking about here. A worldly sorrow. J. Parsons puts it this way. In the original, there are two different words translated by repentance. The former signifying mere regret. And so a lot of times when we see people in the Bible repenting, it's actually the idea of not true repentance, but of a regret. Like, I'm sorry I got caught. This is sometimes applied to God. The gifts and calling of God are without repentance or regret. The Lord has sworn and will not repent. It is sometimes applied to men in order to denote those imperfect notions in religion which have no connection with the salvation of the soul, and is the term used in regard to the repentance of Judas. Just a regret. Paul explains in his letter to the Corinthians, maybe because of the difficulty they were having in not grieving over things that they should be. Paul writes in chapter 7, verse 8, for though I made you sorry with a letter, I do not repent. Though I did repent, for I perceive that the same epistle hath made you sorry, though it were but for a season. Now rejoice, not that you, now I rejoice, not that you were made sorry, but that you sorrowed to repentance. For you were made sorry after a godly manner, that you might receive damage by us in nothing. For godly sorrow worketh repentance to salvation, not to be repented of, but the sorrow of the world worketh death. So this second kind of sorrow and grief is not what Jesus is talking about in Matthew 5, but it's a worldly sorrow. Sorry I got caught. I remember the first time I was arrested. I hate to say the first time, but the first time I got arrested, I went before the judge, arrested by the police officer, in my college days, okay? Got brought before the judge, and I'd never been before a judge, never been arrested before, and shaking in my boots, and I stand before the judge. He says, do you have anything to say? Oh, Judge, I'm so sorry. I've never done. I come from a good family. I don't know what. I'm really sorry. Okay? I was sorry I got caught. Less than a year later, I got arrested again for something else. Same police officer. Okay? I wasn't really sorry. I'm sorry I was getting caught. Because a lot of things I did that I didn't get caught. But when I got caught, at this point in my life, there's only a worldly sorrow. That's not what Jesus is talking about. He's talking about what Paul said, the godly sorrow. As in 2 Corinthians there. This is the one used by Jesus in his text. Of the 9 terms used in the New Testament for sorrow, this is the strongest and most severe. It speaks of inner agony. It's kind of what David in Psalm 32, when David says, "Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, and whose spirit there is no guile. When I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long. For day and night thy hand was heavy upon me. My moisture is turned into the drought of summer. I acknowledged my sin unto thee, and my iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin." There's David, a saved man, in great sorrow. Again, the half-brother of the Lord, James 4:8, draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Be afflicted, and mourn, and weep, lest your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to heaviness. This sorrow that Jesus speaks about is loss of personal righteousness, innocence, purity. I have failed God. And I'm grieving, I'm weeping, I'm in great anguish because of that. Because I know that sin hurts God and grieves the Holy Spirit. I believe it's what we see with Peter in Matthew 26:75. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. That's why I said when I opened the sermon this morning, how many of us have really wept bitterly over our sin? Weeping. God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Not, yeah, God, yeah, I failed you. I know I should. I'm sorry. What we see in the Bible, what Jesus said, this is what I'll bless, is when there's this kind of mourning in your life. It's one thing to be poor and to acknowledge it. It's quite another to grieve and to sorrow and to mourn over it. Christian life is not really filled with joy. There's joy. It's not filled with joy. There's a lot of things in this life, including our own sinfulness, that we ought to be mourning and sorrowful over. Jesus illustrated this in many different ways. In Luke 7, verse 41, there was a certain creditor which had 2 debtors. The one owed 500 pence and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him the most? Simon answered and said, I suppose that he to whom he forgave most. And he said unto him, Thou hast rightly said. And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, Seest thou this woman? I entered into thine house. Thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto you, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And he said unto her, thy sins are forgiven. And they that sat at meat with him began to say within themselves, who is that forgiveth sins also? And he said unto the woman, thy faith hath saved thee. Go in peace. Her grief, her sorrow, she could not give the Lord enough attention. Job, answering the Lord, said this in Job 42:5, I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. He's a saved man. Okay, God knew that. God said, look at the integrity. He's a saved man, but he still sees himself as a great sinner. He said, I look at myself as God is looking at me. I abhor myself. True godly mourning focuses really not on us and not really on our sin. It more focuses on God. We've fallen short of the glory of God. It's like David said when he committed murder and adultery, sinned against others. But what did David say? Psalm 51, against thee and thee only have I sinned. Our sin is primarily against God. Listen as I read as we see this further evidence in Ezra. Ezra 9, verse 1. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed hath mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers hath been chief in this trespass. The leaders were the most grievous. And this is Ezra. Man, Ezra's a great guy. I preached on Ezra several times. And when I heard this thing, I rent my garment and my mantle and plucked off the hair of my head and of my beard and sat down astonished. Have we ever done anything like this? Then there were assembled unto me every one that trembled at the words of God of Israel, because of the transgression of those that had been carried away. And I sat astonished until the evening sacrifice. And at the evening sacrifice, I arose up from my heaviness, and having rent my garment and my mantle, I fell upon my knees and spread out my hands to the Lord my God, and said, O my God, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face to Thee, my God, for our iniquities are increased over our head, and our trespass is grown up into the heavens. Remember what Paul said in Romans 7, verse 24, O wretched man that I am. That's what Jesus is talking about. See us for who we really are. How God sees us when we sin, and we take lightly sin in our lives. This is godly sorrow. And the kind of mourning that comes with that type of godly sorrow, God says, I'll bless. Second point and final point this morning. So there's a godly sorrow, but there's a godly support. Look at verse 4 again. Blessed are they that mourn, for, here's the reason, they shall be comforted. When you live with godly mourning, God will support you. That's the blessing. He will come and give you relief, comfort, consolation that will sustain you and uphold you. Because if we really carry out that first part, and I'm mourning over my sin, and I'm seeing myself in the light of God and His Word, and I'm mourning, I mean, if that was it, that would just wear us out. It would be so defeating. But God, when He sees that kind of Christian, comes along and I'm going to comfort you. I'm going to bless you. Helps us to be supported and to deal with our attitude over our sin. The word comfort here is a very common word we see in the New Testament, translated different ways, sometimes encourage, sometimes comfort. But parakaleo, it just means called alongside. Just like you have a paramedic, one who's called alongside. You know, you have a paralegal, that's a legal person called alongside. This is God coming alongside us. He's not just saying, I see you grieving down there. I'm glad that you're doing that. But He comes right alongside us. Remind me of the story I read of a little girl who, her girlfriend, she was only like 5 or 6 years old, but her little girlfriend died. And she said, Daddy, I'm going to go over and I want to see them. Well, what are you going to do over there? She said, I want to comfort them. Well, how are you? How are you going to comfort? I was going to get up in her mommy's lap and cry with her. That's what God does. He comes along, just comforts and consoles us. Sometimes that comfort comes, God sends directly from Himself. Sometimes it's from other Christians. We see that in 2 Corinthians 1. We've been comforted so that we can comfort others. Sometimes it comes from the Holy Spirit of God who gets alongside us. Paraclete. It's called the Comforter. Sometimes it's through the Word of God that God comes along to comfort us. We know that from Romans 15:4. Paul writes, whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope. That comfort of the Holy Spirit in Acts 9:31 then had the churches rest throughout Judea and Galilee and Samaria. These were after all the persecution, and were edified, walking in the fear of the Lord and in the comfort of the Holy Ghost. It's amazing how many times Isaiah preaches and teaches about this subject. In Isaiah 61:1, Isaiah says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. See, God wanted to comfort those who were genuinely mourning, even going back to the Old Testament. Because that's what the prophets of God were to do, provide that comfort to the true mourners. Isaiah 40 verse 1, comfort ye my people, saith your God. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received the Lord's hand double for all her sins. So in this day that we live in, and the hours that God gives to us, don't be looking like the world looks. The world looks for all this happiness and happenings to happen to make them happy. The ultimate comfort will come in eternity. Revelation 15, 16, and 17. I'll just read you verse 17. It says in verse 15, though, they were before the throne and serve Him day and night in His temple. That's what you do up in heaven, serving the Lord around Him. For they shall hunger no more, neither thirst no more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. There'll be no sorrow in heaven. Paul must have been really blessed by God, understanding what Paul had done in his life, killing Christians. It'd be something very hard to live with. I've had counseling cases where I've had to deal with men and sometimes women, ladies and sometimes men who had an abortion. And then they get saved and they realize, I killed my baby that God gave me. It's an amazing thing what God can do to a grieving heart and a mourning heart when they come to the Lord. Sorry, God. Didn't know what I was doing. I was stupid. I was just not saved. I didn't see these things. And I see this going on with Paul and the comfort that God must have given him. Paul writes to the Corinthians, "Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all comfort, who comforted us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, just as Christ suffered, we suffer." And Paul went through different books that he wrote, and he just listed, in the perils of the sea, and the perils of troubles of this and this and this. All he went through. That's what he's saying. For the sufferings of Christ abound in us. This is this life. If we're living this life the way that we ought to be living, and looking for the things that we ought to be looking for, doing the things, living the life, not holed up somewhere, but living out our faith. Active so others can see Christ in us. Soul winning and praying and attending church and teaching and singing and all these things are what the church is called to do as a lighthouse to the community. But we're suffering. But it's good for people in the world to see us suffering, because they suffer and they wonder why and they question and they try to, in their own hands, change things. But when they see a Christian suffering and they see the Word of God come along them, or God Himself, or the Holy Spirit, or other Christians come around, and they see that they're comforted. What a testimony. And one thing to say, hey, I'm a Christian, you can become a Christian. When they look at our lives and they see what we've been through or going through because of our testimony in Christ. For as the sufferings of Christ abound in us, so our consolation, encouragement, the comfort, so our comfort also aboundeth by Christ. What a heavy message. What a heavy message. Have we ever, I would guess you've wept over a loved one. Okay? I know I have, who died. I cried through at my father's funeral. I couldn't sing. His favorite song was Living for Jesus. Song leader was up there. I'd been down to their church in Florida a few times. Really nice people, a nice guy. I couldn't even look up. It's just flowing down. Thinking of my dad, and then, or my mother, others. When have I done that over my sin? When has there been mourning? Am I too flippant? Oh, God, I'm sorry. Okay, forgiven. I claim that promise. 1 John 1:9. If I'm faithful to confess, you're faithful to forgive, and to cleanse me from all unrighteousness. And then get up and go my merry way. One man said this. Got a couple pages here and I'll be finished in my closing. One man said this: we make too much of grace and too little of sin. There's a lot of truth in that. Oh, God will forgive me. That's no big deal. We all sin. We all fall short. David put it this way in Psalm 56, beginning with verse 8. Thou tellest my wanderings, put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? Does God have a giant bottle up in heaven? Or maybe just an individual bottle for us? And when He sees us weeping and crying, especially not only just normal mourning and even worldly mourning, but when He sees that godly mourning, that sorrow, is there a bottle, literally a bottle, that's being filled up? And I wonder when we get to heaven, is that bottle going to be empty? Is there going to be anything? If it is a literal bottle, which it probably is not, but is there any in there? Are they not in thy book? We know God keeps books. When you give, Philippians 4, okay? It's kind of one of the things that anguishes my heart when I look at our giving every week. I'm thinking of all the people. We have almost 250 people that call this church. And I think of, we're getting in about 12 to 15,000 a month. I'm thinking, God, have mercy on our people. And none of them are working. Or so few are working. Because look at the tithe. And yet Jesus says, prove your love for me by your giving. That's just an outward thing. But does that grieve us? When we look at that, is there something wrong with our church? Is there something wrong with me that I steal from God or hold back from God? Does it bother me? Am I praying? Am I reading the Bible like I should? Does it grieve me when I miss my devotions? When I miss an opportunity to witness? Well, there'll be somebody else. Maybe that was the one that God brought along your way. And we've all been there. We've all missed it. But we miss it, but does it bother us? Everybody misses. I don't have any tracts. I don't have, next time. Does it? That was a soul. That was a soul. A best way to look at when people pass us. If we can get this on our mind, something I'm going to be sharing with our group that's on this soul sensitivity. If we could just get in our mind that every time somebody passes us, maybe it's the last time we're going to see them and they're going right into hell. And if we could think of what are they experiencing in hell? What are they going to go through? All the pain and suffering where the worm dieth not and the fire's not put out and forever and ever in this place of utter darkness and they just passed me. Can I give them a track at least? What can I do? But do things bother us? Put thy tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. As much as a sinner David was, just like us, he knew that he could go to God and confess it. God would forgive it. Set him back up to go again. I know God is for me. That's the blessing. That's the encouragement that comes. In God will I praise His Word. In the Lord will I praise His Word. In God have I put my trust. I will not be afraid of what man can do unto me. One man calls this shedding Christian tears. One of my favorite missionaries, David Brainerd. My wife and I have been down to the Brainerd Cemetery in Tennessee. He lived in the 1700s. He was a missionary to the American Indians. He only lived to age 29. I always look at him and say, God, why don't you take me? Why have I lived so much longer? This is a man, unbelievable. You read his biography. I got a hold of his journal. October 18th, 1740. Quote, in my morning devotions, my soul was exceedingly melted, and I bitterly mourned over my exceeding sinfulness and vileness. Have I ever done that? Why didn't... 29. You're just getting started. Why not me, God? Keep somebody like this who's truly mourning. What practically can we learn from this beatitude? A couple things. Let's learn what sin is. I think a lot of our problem is Sometimes the young Christians, they don't know what sin is. Okay? That's why for someone before they get saved to try to repent of their sins, they don't even know what sin is. To them, sin is, well, just what I think. But it's not till you get saved that your eyes are open to the Word of God. The Spirit opens your eyes to what sin is. We repent before we get saved. We just turn from what I thought would save me. There's repentance and faith. Do we know what sin is? Learn what sin is. Not, Pastor, what do you think? Do you think it's wrong for me to do this, Pastor? Well, the deacon over there, or the choir member, they don't do that, or they do it, so it must be okay. Well, I went on the internet, and they said it was okay to do that Christians can do this. I'm not getting into the Word. Let God speak to us. Psalm 119:12. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. Psalm 119:33 and 34. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep thy law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Verse 38, establish thy word unto thy servant who is devoted to thy fear. I fear God. I fear of failing God. I fear of God not being satisfied and not being pleased with how I'm living my life, things I might be doing and taking carelessly. Oh, it's no big deal. Reminds me of that lukewarmness we looked at a few weeks ago. Spit it out of his mouth. He can't stand someone, person who calls him this or that. Secondly, not only learn what sin is, learn to hate it. Learn to hate it. Psalm 119:11, thy word have I hid in mine heart that I might not sin against thee. I've memorized your word. I've got it deep in here. So the Holy Spirit convict me when I'm getting too close to someone I shouldn't be getting too close to. When I'm thinking about watching something or picking up my phone, and looking and I've hid it in my heart so the Holy Spirit can convict me. Put it down. Turn it off. Throw it away. Because I don't want to hurt God. I don't want to hurt God. I want to hate sin. Psalm 119:128, therefore I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. Look how David picked up on this. Listen as I read. This is David in his house. Psalm 101, verse 1. I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, O Lord, will I sing. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. O when wilt thou come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A forward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. They're not the people I hang with. And Christians, I may not be able to hang with them because of their lifestyle or their standards or their beliefs or something. Whoso privately slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. I'm not going to hang around with someone who's a gossiper, talking about somebody, whispering. Well, I heard, did you know? No, and I don't want to know because it's evil. And God tells me not to do that. Him that hath a high look and a proud heart will I not suffer. Mine eye shall be upon the faithful of the land, and they may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. This is sensitivity to sin. Because God is sensitive to sin. And those that mourn over their sin, over things like this, God said, blessed art thou. The spiritual life is one of sobriety and godliness. It's serious business, what we're called upon in this life. I think about soul winning. It's not the only thing. It's not the only ministry. There's 100 things in our life. But I think of soul winning. We mourn for ourselves. We need to mourn for others and their soul. Jesus came upon a city in Luke 19:41. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. When you go home into your neighborhood, do you weep over it? Do I weep over my neighborhood? When I come down to church and the community, have I begun to weep over our new site? Over the people there? This will put us to shame. Psalm 126, 5 and 6. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. It's not just sowing seed. Okay? So it's not just tracts, but what God says He blesses and where we see a return is tracts plus tears. That's the anguish and mourning over souls, the pouring out of my soul as I'm giving out tracts, weeping. And I'm not saying we should do that just to make it come up. Doesn't mean we give it as we're giving it to people. But as we prepare to go, as we prepare to open up every day and to get out of our bed and to go about in this world and people all around us, do we have compassion, a mourning for their soul? Paul said about the Jews, I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren. Wow. If it were possible, I would give up my salvation that they would be saved. John Knox, he lived in the 1500s. I'm going to read you a couple quotes here I picked out from several sources. John Knox constantly carried the burden of the loss of Scotland. Night after night he prayed. When his wife pleaded with him to get some sleep, he said, how can I sleep when my land is not saved? And he prayed, Lord, give me Scotland or I die. Another quote here, when two Salvation Army officers felt helpless and that nothing was working to reach and save the poor, William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, gave them this advice: try tears. When they did, a mini revival broke out. It's a time for us to wake up and try tears and weep over the condition of the world. And when we do, we'll be the privileged recipients of God's divine favor. In other words, he says we will be blessed. Those God puts around us. Jesus said in Matthew 13:42, He shall cast them to a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. There's going to be the sorrow. There's going to be the wailing in the morning of those that are not saved. Remember Jesus, again, in the rich man and Lazarus, Jesus said in Luke 16:25, but Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receiveth thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, so the poor and the rich. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. You may have it rough in this world. It might be a lot of mourning. But there's coming a time of comfort for the safe, not torment. The prodigal son, another one that Jesus gave to help illustrate this kind of sensitivity. The prodigal, it says, and he rose and came to his father. But when he was yet a way off, his father saw him. This, of course, Jesus gave this parable likening himself, God the Father, to this father, and had compassion, ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. You need to get saved today. I hope you get saved. Don't gamble with your soul. God does not want to throw anybody into hell. In fact, it's not God who does that. We judge ourselves. When we reject Christ, God has no choice but to send us to hell. Isaiah 53, again from the book of Isaiah 3 and 4. Isaiah describing Christ. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows. I'm going to read you something here, one of our hymns in just a minute. He was despised and rejected of man, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. The hymn writer got it right. In our hymn book, Hallelujah, what a Savior. Man of sorrows, what a name. We're going to sing this a little bit later. Man of sorrows, what a name. For the Son of God who came, ruined sinners to reclaim. Hallelujah, what a Savior. Bearing shame and scoffing rude, in my place condemned he stood. Sealed my pardon with his blood. Hallelujah, what a Savior. This word mourning here in our text, blessed are they that mourn, is a present tense. Jesus doesn't say, well, if you mourned in the past, he's referring to the present, a continual mourning. Martin Luther, who lived in the 1500s, said this, one of the reformers, mournfulness is a rare herb. It is an endangered species. It is something that you don't come across often in the days we live in. That was in the 1500s, 500 years earlier. It's rare. It was rare then. I wonder what it is today for us. It was said of John Bradford that he was burned at the stake by the Roman Catholics in 1555, that scarcely a day passed in which he did not weep for his sin. Again, David Brainerd, missionary to the Indians in the 1700s, he was walking in a forest one evening and contemplated his sins and his depravity before God, that he felt that the very ground of the forest would open up and swallow him into hell. It says as he went back to the mission station, he could hardly show his face in case the other missionaries knew what had happened to him or saw the look of sinful shame upon his face. Spurgeon said this, the best of men are men, and at best we are apart from God, from the work of the Spirit and the power of divine grace. Hell itself does not contain greater monsters than you and I might become if we're not careful. The old preacher, Alan Redpath, stood on a platform and said this, quote, as I stand here this evening, I am capable of committing any sin under the sun. That is realizing how big a sinner you and I are. And as Paul in his late years, not after he murdered Christians, but as he thought and contemplated what he was, he could say nothing other than he was chief of sinners. One old-timer, hundreds of years ago, wrote this. He said, sin is what the old Puritans called sin, the devil's dung. One old-time scholar, I want to point you to the man of sorrows. It's interesting as we read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the gospel record, that the Lord Jesus Christ is never recorded as laughing or smiling. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he didn't laugh or smile. I'm not saying he couldn't laugh or smile. But why do the gospel writers, why does the Holy Spirit not bring that thought to us? Simply because he wants us to be described. He wants him to be described as a man of sorrows. He was hungry. He was tired. He was going to bear the sins of the world. He heard in his ears day by day blasphemy, profanity. He saw it with his very eyes, the one who could not look upon iniquity. He saw all those things in his very midst. He was thirsty. He was weeping. He was poor. He was angry. He was hungry. But chiefly he mourned because of our sin. And He mourned for a sinful, lost world. We see that in Luke 23. And you're reminded of the woman weeping for Him. You can imagine they were weeping for Him, the crucified Savior, in verse 28. But Jesus, turning to them, said, Daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. One last passage. Isaiah again. I was going to read you a longer portion. I'll just get it down to one verse. Isaiah 40, verse 12. Speaking of God, who hath measured the waters in the hollow of His hand, and meted out heaven with a span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. Let's think about that for a minute. The oceans of the world contain more than 340 quintillion gallons of water. Yet God holds them in the hollow of His hand. The earth weighs 6 sextillion metric tons. Yet God says it's like dust in the scales to Him. The known universe stretches more than 30 billion light years. That's 200 sextillion miles. But God measures it by the width of His hand. Scientists claim there are at least 100 billion galaxies. And each galaxy is made up of about 100 billion stars. In Isaiah 40, verse 26, God calls each star by name. If God cares about all this and can do all that, folks, He cares about us. And as He is holy, He calls upon those, His children, His disciples, His genuine disciples, to be holy. Peter says, cast all your anxiety, all your worries, all your problems upon Him, for He careth for you. This morning, hallelujah, what a Savior. Let's pray. This morning with our heads bowed, very tough message to compare what the Bible says, what men of old have done, men in the Bible have done, and comparing ourselves. How are we living out our spiritual life? Is there some connection with maybe something we're leaving out of our life and maybe why life is not going so well? Am I missing the blessing of God? Am I missing the comfort of God? Because I'm not really mourning over my sin. For the unsaved, you must understand it is sin that separates you from God. But you can be saved because Christ took your sin, took it to the cross, bore our sins, paid the ultimate sacrifice as any animal sacrifice that gave His life. And the gospel says that He was buried and rose again the third day. And whosoever believeth on Him shall be saved. Look at yourself as poor in spirit. You have nothing to offer God. Come with great humility, great remorse, great grief. Say, God, I repent. I turn away from this. Sin is ugly. It's dirty. I want to turn to You, Lord. You're holy. And You've given the path and the promise of blessing. And I come to You, God, for salvation today. I believe in Jesus, who He was and what He did for me. I couldn't pass a Bible test. I don't know very much about the Bible. But I do know that. And if from your heart you genuinely believe that, God is your witness, you can be saved. And then life will begin. and the blessing of God will come upon you. And I pray you'll make that decision today. If you're already a Christian, the invitation hymn this morning is nothing between my soul and the Savior. Wow. I want to take care of every sin. But I don't want to just take care of it. I want to hate it. I want to grieve over it. And I haven't been really maybe grieving like I ought to. I've been kind of flippant about it, casual. And I realize, God, sin is an abomination to you. It's an offense to you. It grieves the Holy Spirit of God. And starting today, I want you to help me, God, through the Spirit, to reveal these things to me, that I might take sin more serious in my life. Realize all that you bore for me. You are a man of sorrows. You bore this for me. I want to rededicate my life today, Lord, to this simple beatitude. Is what you were trying to teach your disciples. This is the way to live the Christian life. This is the way to get blessed. Help me, God, to be sorry for every aspect of my Christian life. Anything and everything, how I should see life as you see it. From my praying, from my soul winning, from my attending church, from my giving, from my being a good Christian at work and in the neighborhood and serving you, Lord, and all the things, multiple things you call upon me to do. God, help me not to pass over it, but to confess it and to grieve, desiring not to do it again. You come this morning, nothing between my soul and the Savior. It's not a paradox. Easy to understand, very hard to do. But not really hard to do if we're close to the Lord. And we want to live like He tells us to live. You come to the invitation, no one will bother you, just pray something at the altar. Not that you can't pray in your seat, and I hope you do. But sometimes coming forward just makes it more definite in your life. I'm sure this woman that anointed Jesus, with her tears, she didn't have to do that. That was the outpouring of her heart. Maybe your outpouring has come to the altar. God, I mean this. I'm really sorry for these things, and sorry for not taking it. I don't look at myself maybe as a bad Christian, but, oh, Lord, I surely don't see myself as I saw myself today. Whatever your need, as the Lord leads, you come. Nothing between my soul and the Savior. Father, we cry out with this hymn writer. Hallelujah. What a Savior. Help us, Lord, to learn about sin. I never had a course in seminary on sin. It probably would have been good. But we can have a seminary course. Every day we open up the Bible. Help us to learn it, and then help us to hate it. And to love you more for the sorrows you bore and minister to by way of comfort and blessing. Help us to have a blessed 2022, Lord. As a church, as individuals, as marriages, as our families, in our singleness. That you might look down, you that holds the water, the world, the stars in your hand. You see and can do everything. You see us. And as you see us, Lord, may we be mourners. So that you can comfort us. And we'll thank you for these things. In Christ's name, amen. We have a lady special, and then we'll be dismissed.